If you've been watching the channel over the last 6 months, then you'd know what this is. This is my Hyper Racer X1 that I built as part of a build series on this YouTube channel and have been racing for the better part of 6 months as part of the Australian Drivers' Championship. Now, I pretty much sold my soul to be able to build this thing. And to do so, any inanimate object that was in my possession at the time got absolutely hurled onto Facebook Marketplace when the opportunity to build this car arose. One of those objects was my racing simulator. Now, this sim was where things really got started for me in motorsport, but it kind of sucked, which is why I didn't hesitate to sell it. It was a combination of mid-tier Fanatec components and the cheapest track racer cockpit that I could find on Facebook Marketplace at the time. Now, after building the X1 and racing in my first ever national championship, I got a very clear picture of where my driving ability was at, and I knew I needed to get back into a simulator ASAP. But building the X1 sent me into a bit of a financial crisis, if you will. So I compiled my sob story into a few emails and directed it at any simulator company that I thought could support me. And waited. But then I heard back from SimworX and they were keen to help out. In this episode, we're going to be heading down to the SimworX facility in Melbourne and lending them a hand in building my very own SX02 Edge. I mean, I'll probably be mostly in the way, but I'll try my best. Now, SimworX isn't your average simulator company pumping out cheap extrusion rigs and off-the-shelf components. Similar to Hyper Racer, they build everything in-house to the highest possible quality. And walking around the factory for the first time, that was pretty clear to see.
Hi guys, just a bit of a brief walkthrough of SimworX down here. If you want to come through, we can show you through and see what all happens. So in here we've got obviously our pedal and shifter assembly area. As you can see, all our pedals and stuff are all CNC. All our USB boards and everything are all assembled and done in here. So that basically is just all your bolt-on peripheral bits and pieces. And then through here we go on to our chassis stock and all that sort of stuff. So we've got our basically everything here to make a basic sim chassis, through to all of our CNC bent tubes and whatnot for nose cones. So all that's done, every single one's identical, the same. So quality and control and everything is all there. CNC folder, so we do all that in-house also. And then into our fab bay in here where everything is all welded up and that sort of thing. And then from there we can go up to the assembly area upstairs. So yeah, here you'll see a few sims on the build still at the moment. So we've got our top of the range V3, not quite finished yet, but not too far off. So that's pretty mega setup with a triple 45-inch curved and that sort of thing on there. Through to some chassis. So this is another build, which will be the same build as that V3 there, once it's all finished up. So obviously we've got all our power and everything all runs through here, so it's nice and neat, really hidden. USB ports in here, so your shifters, button boxes and everything can bolt straight on and be plugged into there. Through to, this is the core, the very inside of the sim. So this is Zach's chassis. So obviously we run all our power and everything through the middle here. USB and speaker power and everything through these. And then onto more finished stock. It's a little bit of a mess up here at the minute, but through to your screen mounts and some cables and all that sort of thing.
What's a life without sacrifice? Sometimes you gotta thank God and just roll the dice.
So this is just our showroom where if customers want to come and try before you buy, which you generally don't get in many sim companies in Australia, that's for sure. So they come down here, we can put them in the machines and basically run through it and see what they're getting. So obviously, again, one of our top of the range units here, the V3, SimiCube 2 Pro, our top of the range pedals, shifter, button box, 5 actuator motion system, and all that sort of thing. To our V2, which is sort of our mid-range motion sim. So it's a 3 actuator system. Again, with triple 50-inch screens, our pedals, conspit steering motors and that sort of thing on them. Through to our non-motion static sim, which is quite a customizable thing depending on your controls and what you want to fit off on it. So all our stuff becomes licensed, set up, ready to go, so the customer doesn't have to have a worry about, is it right, is it not going to work, this sort of thing. It's all 100% tested and set up before it leaves.
All right, let's have a go.
Jumping in a SimworX SX02 M Sport for the first time made me realise the value in a fully kitted out simulator like this. As someone coming from a setup that I built myself, I can't tell you the number of times I said I was going to add this or modify that and get something to feel a particular way. A setup like this starts at around $18,000 Australian, which at first might seem like a lot. But this gets you a very solid chassis, with all the electronics routed nicely inside, built-in speakers and a subwoofer, haptics, a proper racing seat, hydraulic pedals, direct drive wheelbase, and what I think is the best part, a fully equipped gaming PC with an RTX 4070. It even comes with iRacing and all the other sim games pre-installed, ready to go. And despite how excited I sound about all of this, because everything's so perfectly packaged together, you actually end up forgetting about everything that's around you. A testament to a high quality sim like this is the ability to just hone in and focus on the driving.
I think the coolest thing about this is I can jump in and really just focus on driving the car. None of the controls feel weird or out of place or not where they should be. I can just really focus on driving, which is awesome. Which is exactly what you want out of a sim. No, that's epic. Love it.
Now this is the granddaddy of SimworX simulators, the SimworX V3 Motion. This advanced motion platform gives you 4 directions of freedom: heave, pitch, yaw, and roll. It's got seatbelts that tighten under brakes, and all the haptic feedback from the SX02 M Sport chassis, resulting in so much more immersion, which surprisingly just helped me further hone in on my driving.
Alright, this is my first time in a full-blown motion rig. You can feel all the bumps in the track. That's so awesome. A lot of people talk about motion rigs and just sort of randomly throwing them around. This is so in sync with the driving that I'm doing. It genuinely does help with immersion. So like I can imagine as a legitimate training tool for a professional racing car driver, you can't really look past something like this. The one thing I love about a sim of this caliber is how realistic a hydraulic pedal feels. Like, having come from doing a fair bit of driving in real race cars, that feels exactly like my real race car does. Like, it really helps with just driving precision, I think.
Now SimworX also offer a more entry-level motion platform called the V2 Motion. With 3 degrees of freedom, you can still feel all of the detail. Things like sudden traction loss feels a lot closer to how they do in the real thing.
It's hard to say too much about it because you can really just knuckle in and focus on your driving. Everything just feels so comfortable right from the get-go. That was better. That was nice.
Now that we've seen just how good the SimworX simulators are, it's time to get stuck into building my own. Firstly, we'll assemble the base of the chassis. This houses all the electronics, as well as provides a stiff platform for us to build our sim on top of. After mounting the side panels and the shroud for the back of the base, we can flip it over and start closing up the bottom. After test fitting the base plate, we'll need to add some silicone to ensure that there's nothing that can vibrate from either the sub or the butt kicker. Once the base is built, we'll go ahead and add the nose cone, which will allow us to mount the monitor mounts and the wheelbase later on. Next, we can add the mount of the adjustable pedal tray, which bolt directly to the base of the chassis. Now, while I was busy routing these cables through the dedicated cable management ports in the chassis, Luke was busy installing the, he was mounting the, yeah, I forgot to ask about that bit, but I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Anyways, this thing is gonna need somewhere for me to sit. So we're gonna go ahead and add the mounts for the seat rails. Like before, these simply bolt onto the base of the chassis. Next, we're going to add the front-facing mid-range speakers, as well as this bracket, which is what the triple monitor mount will bolt to, as well as the PC mount on the back of it. Now for the seat itself, we simply need to bolt the adjustable rail to the seat and then mount it to the chassis. And for now, that's the core of the chassis complete. In the next episode, we'll finish off all the electronics, mount the monitors, and get this thing home so we can finally test it all out. See you all in the next one.